It is great to be able to be on this call again. I think this is the third of the spaces that we are hosting on this particular program. Of course, our intention is to convene as many of these spaces as we possibly can. So allow me to first of all thank everybody who's been able to join this afternoon. As Chanda mentioned, I invite you to share this link to as many fellows, prospective friends of the Jubilee Fellows Program as is possible, so that then they can also be part of the conversation. Vital to mention that we are going to be recording this session so that then it can also benefit those who, for whatever reason, might not be able to join. As Chanda mentioned, I think the ultimate goal of this particular space is to use it as an opportunity to provide clarification on key components of the program, and as much as is possible to also use it as a way to provide updates publicly as well. We, of course, continue to note increasing interest on the program, and we applaud the young people of Nigeria for showing unparalleled support and interest in the Jubilee Fellows Program. And indeed, the intention of the program is to support young people and improve their employability in terms of connecting to opportunities at the workplace. And so as we do that, of course, one of the areas that has come up immensely of late has been on the entire funnel of matching, onboarding, placement, and of course, I'm sure at some point we are going to be talking about offboarding as well. Before we commence the session, I think it's important to just refresh for those who might be joining us for the first time, although might not necessarily have been on previous sessions, so probably they might just be interested in the Jubilee Fellows Program, but might not know what the program is all about. I think I will speak a little bit about what the program is not, and then speak as well about what the program is seeking to achieve. So I think a critical aspect of the Nigeria Jubilee Fellows Program is to really be able to support fresh graduates. So these are individuals who've recently graduated from university and improve their employability. So think about an employability incubator that prepares fresh graduates for a very competitive marketplace or a very competitive labor market. So this program is not the National Youth Service Corps. This program is not a cash for work program for skills at the workplace through connecting learning needs for a young, fresh graduate to skills needs of a potential host organization are met. It is the process of connecting a prospective learner with a skills need that the matching process gets complete. And therefore, that links to the onboarding and to the placement. Therefore, as in terms of providing context, the process of matching is one that we, therefore, as a program, take extremely serious. The commitment of the program is to connect as many fresh graduates to opportunities as is possible. But we also want to make sure that that is done in a manner that allows for meaningful learning to take place. In this regard, it is just not about finding an organization and sending an individual to that organization. It's about understanding the work that the organization does and how that will benefit a fellow or a fresh graduate. In this regard, it therefore might not be possible sometimes in reality to operate with the speed that everybody expects that to be done. And I will explain the reason why. We have had situations where organizations that are not credible, or that organizations that haven't been properly verified, or organizations that appear to be very good on paper, but who do not have the capacity to provide the learning opportunity that young, fresh graduates require. We've also had experiences where you have fantastic organizations that have got potential to host young, fresh graduates who have failed in providing that learning opportunity. Onboarding and placement is one that we regard as extremely, extremely important. And that is the reason why it is just not about identifying an organization, but it's about ensuring that we have as many credible host organizations as is possible. And that is a unique difference between the Jubilee Fellows Program as an employability incubator. As a result, sometimes this generates delays, which I think we all agree towards. And also, this might, in a way, if not well communicated, give an impression that nothing is being done. As we speak, we have 2,575 fresh graduates who have been placed across slightly over 700 organizations across the country. And this particular process has not been devoid of challenges. It has been a complex undertaking. This is the first year of implementation. I think the first fellow was onboarded in October 2022. So we're literally in the seventh month of implementation. So it has not been devoid of challenges. We've had challenges in terms of verifying and the verification and screening of host organizations, which has led to some delays. We've had challenges in terms of ensuring timely payment of stipends, which the team is working overnight to address. And then, most importantly, we've also had challenges in terms of the speed at which the matching and onboarding happens. Now, while that is the case, one thing that I think is important and vital to mention that is not in any way an indication that there isn't immense amount of work that is being done. The program is designed solely to support and ensure that young, fresh graduates across the country, irrespective of age, irrespective of gender, irrespective of state of origin or state of residence, have an opportunity to connect at the workplace, learn on the job, and most importantly, empower themselves to get meaningful work in future. Now, the process of ensuring resources and the process of ensuring that payments are made is an important element that I'd like to speak to. This particular program provides a stipend to each and every fellow who is placed within an organization. That therefore means that the fellow has been shortlisted onto the shortlist. They have been matched to a host organization. They have been placed in an organization and even have a unique ID. A unique ID is basically your identification number that you're now placed to organization X or Y. The difference between this particular program and other programs is that it is not in the process of being on the roster that you get a stipend. It is in the process of being matched, placed, resumed work, and actually worked that stipends are paid. And it's important to make that clarification, and that is the difference between the Jubilee Fellows Program and a Cash for Work program or other social protection schemes that do exist. I think I wanted to provide this context to help us now be on the same page in terms of the process. We do recognize delays. We do recognize the need to accelerate the matching and the placement process. It's important to clarify that the first fellow was placed in October, so significant progress has been made. I'd like to also mention one other aspect, and then, of course, I'll open it up for discussion with your permission, Chanda, and that is communication and engagement around the Jubilee Fellows Program. The Jubilee Fellows Program is designed with a very deliberate intention to provide a learning opportunity and to support young people to better place themselves at the forefront and give them an edge on the labor market. I would like to plead and request, I think Chanda mentioned about the need to engage in a constructive and mutually respectful manner. I would like to plead with each one of us, and especially as we engage on social media, on the Jubilee Fellows program, or any other ways that we engage. And here I'm assuming that I'm speaking to perhaps our fellows on the roster, the 20,000 who've been fortunate enough to be shortlisted from slightly over 365,000 young Nigerians that expressed interest. I would like to encourage us to be mindful of the manner in which we communicate and engage on social media. The reason I say that is because that the program itself is seeking to support young people to be able to constructively and meaningfully build a social brand that allows you to be marketable and employable. How we engage and how we communicate on social media is a reflection of who we are. So what I'd like to encourage us to do is that I think many of us who have been on social media, when you hear entrepreneurs marketing their products, you'll hear them say, you know, please patronize my product or my business. You know, my next client might be on your timeline. Now, what I'd like to encourage us as young people is that let's remember that the potential host organization or the potential employer could be on your timeline. And so I want to encourage us to think in this particular way that as we communicate on social media, as we engage on social media, let us do it in such a manner that if your potential employer was on the timeline, would they hire you? If your potential employer was on your timeline, would they want to host you as a fellow? And so my suggestion is I think I'd like us to have a robust engagement on social media. I'd like us to have a robust engagement on how we can support fresh graduates in Nigeria. I'd like to encourage us to do it constructively. I'd like to encourage us to do it with decorum, because I think that is the unique value proposition of the young people of this country. You're connected, you're knowledgeable, you're skilled, and I'm sure that we can have a candid reflection in that regard. Last but not least, I'd like to encourage us as much as is possible to engage, including through the formal channels that we have provided. As we mentioned during the last space, formal engagements around the program, and particularly on individuals' fellowship status, will not. And the reason for that, as we all know, is that this is a program that involves individuals. This is a program that involves individual data. This is a program that involves people's personal information. This is information that cannot be published on social media. We shall use social media to publish public information, to provide public address information, but as much as is possible, we are working extremely hard to improve the formal channels of communication. We are growing the team to ensure that the call center is as responsive as it can be. We've gotten feedback in some cases where the call center cannot absorb the demands of the calls that come in, and which are coming in the thousands. Every day, the call center is handling between 800 and 1,000 calls on a daily basis. And how do we respond to that? We're finding ways of expanding the ability of the team that is handling the emails to be able to do that with ease and better support. For those who have been following the program, we are also establishing a state-level focal point. So that means there's going to be much more accountability at the state level. So you're going to be having a lot more engagement at the state level as fellows. Support will be provided to make sure that opportunities to come together, collaborate together is enhanced. We are also providing the support of a regional focal point at geopolitical level. So that means that at geopolitical level, there can be deeper engagement and connection between fellows. So whether that is in the southwest, in the southeast, in the south-south, in the northwest, in the northeast, in the north central, that there is deep connection at geopolitical level, there's deep connection at the state level. So that means that there's deeper accountability. It's to increase the number of channels and avenues for engagement. So that is a resource that is being made available. And as we do that, we are also trying to creatively find ways in which we can channel and provide updates on the program more and more. We want to have many town halls, albeit virtual, but to continuously, in addition to Twitter Spaces, have as many town halls as is possible. Now stretched and expanded the process of reaching out to other prospective hosts, be it at state level, be it at geopolitical level, jointly with government and with partners, with private sector entities to be able to do that. I'm providing this context to have a deep understanding of some of the efforts that are being made, majority of which might not necessarily be the purview of everyone, but which I think is important for us as a team and as partners to be aware of. The Jubilee Fellows Program is here to support fresh graduates from university, and the essence is to ensure that we have a product that is qualitatively viable. I would also like to mention that the Jubilee Fellows Program is exclusively managed and indeed under very, very strong rules and procedures and guidelines as well. We have seen remarks and statements and concerns online regarding the management of the program, concerns whether the program has been captured or not. I would like to take this opportunity to reassure everybody on this call that while processes might be low and while we might have challenges along the way, the program is managed by the highest standards possible. And that is why it's been entrusted to the United Nations in that regard. We have procured the services of talented entities to support in different components of the program, including the process of matching and onboarding. But one thing which is for sure is that the oversight process of this particular program is intact. In terms of context, I'd like to leave it at that particular point. I'd like to then open it up, Chanda, if that is okay, if there's any questions from the community, anything that I need to clarify. And one of the commitments that I'd like to make here, and I know that I've made this commitment before, is I'd like us to sustain this conversation. I'd like us to regularly come back. The last time we spoke about stipends, before that we spoke about the kickoff process of selection and the selection process. Now we're talking about matching and onboarding. I'd like you to help us understand what you'd like us to talk about this particular program. I'm sure there's those who are on this call who probably you're not among the 20,000, or probably you're among the 20,000. You got communication about being matched in December, and then that was recalled, and you have a question. Please ask those questions so that we can provide clarification, and that way we can also connect and link to other channels. I would also like to mention that for those who have been placed and have commenced their placements, we now have a Telegram group, which has been set officially by the Jubilee Fellows Program, which is now a legitimate platform for the fellows where we can provide additional information as is needed. And I'm aware that as a community, you've also organized yourselves in different platforms, and that is fantastic. But I also want us to make sure that there's an official Telegram group set up by the Jubilee Fellows Program, moderated by the Jubilee Fellows team, where, again, additional information is provided. I'll stop here, Chanda, and then hand over to you to support in the moderation process.
Okay, all right, William. Thank you so much for opening up the space and for that brief discussion. My fellow listeners, what I'm gonna do, if you have any questions, please just request, and we can have you just ask one or few questions. So I will randomly get whoever has requested, and please I hope your questions are, let's make them constructive and in line with what has been said. So I will start with Akpan Emmanuel. You can go ahead and speak.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon. Can I go ahead with my question?
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon. Can I go ahead with my question?
Good afternoon.
Okay, so I think you can actually hear me. So I'll just go straight to it. Hopefully you can hear me. So my name is Akpan Emmanuel. My organization is basically one of the organizations that was, I think around December, we received a mail that we've been matched to, I think, about 3 persons. But we received another email later saying that we should not go ahead to, reach out to the fellows that was actually matched to us. So I think from then till now, we've not gotten any feedback. And I think I've also tried to reach out basically via email. Until now as well, we've not gotten any information. Actually a worry. So I needed to get clarity from you guys. If there's anything, there's actually the problem for us not to hear anything from you guys. So that's my question, basically.
Hi, Akpan. Thank you so much for that. Could you just remind me what is the name of your organization, please? And
Okay.
where is the organization?
Yes, so the name of our organization is CS Force Lagos Edu Consult, and it's somewhere here in Lagos in Ikorodu. And I think CS Force Lagos. So we also had I think someone came in from your organization saying that he came in to check, our organization did all the, I think he said he wanted to come and be sure that we are actually an organization, and then checked our space and all of those kind of things. I think that was sometime around November last year. Can't remember clearly now. But I think after then, he later reached out again. It was after then we got an email that our organization can now host. So, yes.
Thank you. Chando, should we take a few more and then I can respond to them? At least that's from a host organization.
Yes. Okay, and then I think that is one. That was one question. Let me just read also some that are in the inbox, William. Maybe we can then we can take one other interactive one. So from the inbox, there's a question DM from Bashir Dalhatu. He says, my organization has been matched with 10 fellows and they all accept terms and conditions of the program and currently waiting for an onboarding, but now we're unable to access our organization dashboard. So this is some of it, but I think it's easier for us to have interactive participants, so who can just talk. Okay, let me just get someone else to go ahead with their questions. Okay, Omu, please go ahead and unmic yourself.
Yes, I am online. Good afternoon. Yeah. Yes. Good afternoon, and thank you for all the piece. So my own question is, I was initially matched in December, but then I was asked to wait. Then sometimes last week, Sterling Bank sent an email for some interview assessments. We went there, and then plus few others, and we were not onboarded. So my question here is, are we on the right path? Because I don't want to. The email from NJFP was that we should wait for onboarding before we go to a host organization. But then we all went for the interview without onboarding. So are we on the right path?
Okay, thank you. I've noted that as well.
Okay, all right. So that is a question. Let me have. That was Omo, right? Blessing, are you on?
Yeah, now, can you hear me? Hello?
Okay, nothing from.
Okay, I think my mic, if you,
Okay, yes, Blessing, go ahead.
okay. All right, so I'm one of the host organizations, right? I was assigned two fellows. One resumed and one did not resume, right? And when the other one did not resume, saying that she can't come in and all that, I asked her to send an email to NJP. I don't know if she did, but on the attendance list that each time they send me for me to confirm, the two names appears. And I've sent like couple of emails, like more than 6 times, that this fellow with email, phone number did not resume. And this month that we have to go to the dashboard to confirm attendance. I saw her email and everything that she is the first person to confirm that she's been working with me. But the actual person that been working went and I did not receive an email from the actual person that has been working with me. But Halima that has not been there has not been, I received that automation that she has gone to the dashboard to say she has worked for 22 days. Now, Zainab that has been working has stuff, but when I want to approve for Zainab, it's not going. Rather, Halima's own is going. I sent an email again that, oh, this person has not been working. How do I get this thing removed from my dashboard? And how do I get additional fellows? No response to any of those emails. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chanda, and thank you so much for the comments and the questions that have come in so far. Blessing, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. And I think this is a fantastic opportunity to hear this reflection from a host organization and reflect it jointly. And I'm assuming that on this call we have fellows. And I'd like to encourage us to use this opportunity to voice and air these concerns, such that then we find common solutions to them. So, if and this is something that is extremely critical. A fellow who has been matched and placed to an organization and they do not show up at work should and will not be paid. And in this regard, if they have communicated to you that they are not on the program, then in that regard, they're basically holding up someone else's opportunity, in which case they get delisted. And so the process of ensuring that we clean up the roster, there are many people who applied into the program in September 2021 when the portal was open, who have found other areas of engagement, who have left the country, for example, who are not interested in the program anymore. It is an opportunity for us to then ensure that these individuals do not then take up an opportunity that could be beneficial to somebody else who needs it. So the update, the information you're providing is extremely important and blessing. If it's possible for you, I think direct messages on our handle the details of this particular fellow and the details of this particular individual. Provide us with your unique idea as a host organization, and also provide us with the name of this particular individual. The process now of ensuring that payments are made now is linked directly to the unique ID. And so as host organizations, do help us to ensure that as much as is possible, we have information about the fellows who are not reporting to work. And so I'd like to thank you so much, Blessing, for joining this call and for raising one that we need to address. So that is one.
Thank you. I will do that. I have emails and I
Yeah,
can send a
please
DM
do that.
too. I can send a
Fantastic.
DM and I'll do an email. But most importantly, we need more fellows if it's possible for us to get.
Can I confirm, Blessing, where is your organization based?
Lagos.
In Lagos. And
Yes.
and you requested for two fellows and only one comes in. So how many fellows do you have capacity to host?
So I have capacity to host additional three fellows now.
Additional two fellows. Fantastic. So please just provide us the details with the DM and then I'll get the team to look into that. And
All
thank
right.
you so much for providing us with this feedback. I'd like to link that then very closely to ACPAN as well. And this was a question regarding an verification exercise that was done. You received communication in December and there hasn't been follow up. I have taken note of your organization and I'd like to request the same. I've already gotten the team to look at the back end of the details of your request, and that is something that will ensure that the team follows up with you directly. One aspect that I like to mention, particularly when it comes to December and November, the reason why we stopped the placements, the matching process that was done in December was because we had to really be meticulous with the verification exercise. We had come from a perspective at the time where we had a number of host organizations that had expressed interest or individuals who had expressed interest to host our fellows. And then as we were doing not just the synthetic verification of incorporation details and all, but also the physical verification of the operations, we noticed and found a growing number of inconsistencies that we needed to address. And so the reason why we put a pause on that was to make sure that we clean up the verification process, hence the delay. And that's the reason why, for example, the fellow who said they were matched in December and then they were told the process was on hold, but then they were invited for Starling by Starling for an interview. Indeed, it is in the process, the final process before you commence is the onboarding. Once the onboarding is done, then communication on the start date is made. We have prioritized right now the fellows who received communication in December regarding the matching. And the reason we've prioritized that is because these are the fellows that have been waiting because they had already gotten communication. But we had a significant number of hosts or individuals who expressed interest to host. But when we began the verification process, we found a lot of inconsistencies which we shall not disclose on this call, but it was important for us to put a pause on that particular process to clean up the inconsistencies before we start the matching process. So for colleagues and the fellows who perhaps had gotten communication regarding the matching and they had not been matched, the priority right now is to ensure that those fellows are connected to placement opportunities. We have had to beef up the verification exercise because fellows are a priority to the program, host organizations are a priority to the program, and we want to make sure that just like Blessing, we are also deploying young people who are honest, who are truthful, who operate in integrity. And at the same time, we want to ensure that we deploy fellows to organizations that provide an integral space for learning, who are truthful, and who will ensure maximum returns and growth for the fellow. So that is one thing that we want to make sure happens at different stages. I don't know if there's any other questions or comments coming in from your end, Charlie.
Yes, I think we have Donata who has requested. Let me see. You can go ahead and speak, Donata.
Hello, good afternoon.
Please unmute yourself and speak.
Hello, good afternoon.
I can see Umu is on now.
Who?
All right, ma. Good afternoon. I'm one of the fellows that have been matched since December.
Please continue,
And
Donata,
I was
before.
Hello, good afternoon. Everyone.
Yes, go ahead, Donata. We can hear you.
Okay. I was matched
Good
ending of
afternoon. We can hear you.
November. Okay. Okay. I was matched ending of November to a host organization, and after a while, I wasn't reached by the host organization, though the onboarding didn't take place. And I wasn't also reached by the host organization. So I got their number and called them, and I was told that NJFP had told them not to send the offer letter, that they actually replaced me. So my question is, what is the way forward? My question is, what is the way forward? Because I was actually, if NJFP has actually replaced me and some other fellows that were sent to the organization, I was expecting an email from NJFP to at least tell us what is the way out for us, but I haven't gotten any of that. So I want to know what is in for us. Thank you.
I think.
You
Yeah,
want to
go
take that,
ahead.
William?
Yeah, no, we can take a few more.
Okay. Let's see. Let us take Bright. Bright, please go ahead and speak. Hi, Bright. Please go ahead and speak. Okay. I don't think
Can you hear me?
his on.
hello,
Hello?
good afternoon.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Josiah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hi, go ahead, Bright.
Okay, so sorry, my mic was off. My name is Bright. I was one of
You
the
can go ahead. We can hear you.
okay. I was one of the those that were matched in December. Now, my issue is that I am in Abuja, but I was matched to a business center in Calabar. I'm a professional graphic designer. So when I reached out to them, they said they were told to hold on or something like that, that I should wait first to communicate to NJFP. So my question, and since then, I have not received any mail either from the organization or from NJFP. So my question now is, what really is the way forward as it is like this?
Okay, that is similar question to. Thanks, Bright. That's similar to Umu. So I think it's also similar to Donata, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll take those together. Chanda, could we take a few more then?
Okay, sure. Let's take a few more. We have Hamza. Please go ahead and speak. Hi, Hamza. Can you? Okay.
Hello.
Hamza is not there.
I'm around.
Ayolei
Hello.
Joy.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Hamza is here.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. Good afternoon. Hello. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. My name is Halima Hamza from Kaduna State.
We can hear you. Please go ahead and speak.
Yes, I was matched since October, and we started work with our host organization, but the host organization was asking us for 10% of our stipend. So prior to that, we received this thing, mail from NJFP that whenever we experience something like that, we should make a report. And we did that, and our organization was flagged. Since then, we didn't hire anything, even though later on we were given unique ID. Other processes was going on with our dashboard, but no any mail of matching or anything. I recently received a mail requesting if we are available to start work by April, and after that, nothing again. So I think I would just want to advise again, since we did the right thing by reporting, we should be top priority in this case. If not, many fellows are laughing at us that just because of 10%, we are here since October. We've not even received even any October stipend, talk more of even rematching. So please, what's our own fate now?
Yeah. All right. So, Chanda, let me take the questions that have come in so far. If that's
Okay,
okay.
that's fine. Go
Fantastic.
ahead.
All right. Hamza, can I request that you mute yourself, please?
Okay.
Thank you. So thank you so much. So I think it was Bright, it was Umu, it was Hamza, it was Donata. Thank you so much for those interlinked comments and questions. Indeed, we observed a growing concern regarding fellows who've been matched in October, December, and who received then communication, both the host organizations as well as the fellows who received communication to pause the process. As I mentioned in my earlier opening and just a few minutes ago, the reason why we paused the placements the matching exercise that had been triggered in November, December, as I mentioned, was because at verification stage, we noticed a very increased number of individuals that had expressed interest to host fellows, but where there was a lot of inconsistencies in terms of the credibility of the organization. As I mentioned, the program is not just about connecting people to employers, but it's also ensuring that the credibility of the host organizations can be verified. So we had to put a pause, and we then really invested significantly in the verification process that goes beyond just verifying whether this organization has a incorporation certificate, but really ensuring that if today you went to this particular location, you will find an organization with operations. Now, what I think we then did after that was to send out communication, not just to the hosts, but also to the fellows, notifying them that we're putting a pause. But of course, the prioritization process was also mentioned. It was important that indeed we do ensure that as much as is possible, we prioritize the fellows that had been matched during that period. Now, Bright, thank you so much for bringing this to my attention, and I think I will request you also to DM us your unique ID, your and your the organization that you had been matched to, because what the program attempts to do, as much as is possible, is that if you applied for the program when you were in Abuja, for example, the program is designed in such a manner that we place fellows in their state of residence. So I think you have mentioned that you're based in Abuja, but you have been placed in Calabar. I think that is perhaps an error in terms of placement, especially if indeed at the time of application you applied for the position with Abuja or FCT as your region of residence. So again, just please provide us with that information, because then we need to look into that to ensure that when you get matched and placed, that is taken on board. And I think the team has also reached out to ensure that we also just harmonize the information regarding collection. Halima, you raised an extremely important point. And this is also the reason why we have become extremely, extremely strict and careful with host organizations. This particular program is designed in such a manner that it is to provide a learning opportunity for fresh graduates, and the stipend that is provided to the fellows is to cushion the fellows as they learn. is to provide support towards your transport, is to provide your support towards your subsistence, and it's a stipend in that regard. The guidelines that we have with the host organizations is designed in such a way that the program does not allow a host organization in any form or shape to swindle or to request financial favors from the fellow. And you're totally right that in situations where, and congratulations to you for doing the right thing by bringing this to our attention. And I think you're right in saying that when this is brought to our attention, I think, and that is the policy of the program, that the fellows who've been withdrawn from organizations that are attempting to be fraudulent or organizations that are trying to frisk fellows of resources, or even those who are violating any rights of the fellows, it is important that we prioritize the replacement and the placement process. And that is something that we'll definitely invest in. And I know that there is the team right now is expanding the scope of engaging directly with the fellows who have been affected, particularly those who've been withdrawn from organizations that have been violating their own rights one way or the other. So thank you so much, Halima, for bringing this to our attention. And I'm sure that you're speaking for many other fellows who perhaps are in the same situation as you are. And that indeed will be taken on board. And Bright, please reach out directly to us so that then we can also amend, because if you're based in Abuja, I do think that ordinarily your placement should be in Abuja and not Calabar. So that might be an error in that regard.
So, thank you very much.
Okay, all right, William. I think we have run out of time. Unfortunately, it was 1 hour, but it has gone by so quickly. And I see we have a couple of questions in the chat box, which we'll try to answer. Each one of them, and hopefully we'll organize another Twitter space where we can chat and we can listen to some of your we can answer to some of your queries. But as stated at the beginning of this space, it is very paramount that whatever queries you have, you use the formal email that is there. The call centers, I think it's all placed on this Twitter handle. Please follow these channels for any of your queries, any of the complaints, any of your concerns. And then we will definitely respond. So maybe just 1 minute, William, to wrap up, and then we end this space. Over to you to wrap up, William.
So thank you so much, Chanda, and allow me once again to thank you for moderating this session, and thank you so much everybody who has joined, including but not limited to the host organizations and the fellows and prospective fellows as well. As mentioned at the beginning, this is your program. This is our collective program. When we join the Jubilee Fellows program, we are holding space for other many young, fresh graduates in this country that might not have had the privilege of joining and being a part of the Jubilee Fellows program. So as we do that, let's represent them with decorum. Let's represent them with respect. Let's not be holding space for very youthful. And as we do that, let us joining, and as Chanda mentioned, we shall continue with conversations. Please join the Telegram link where you can. Be part of that community. We are going to be launching very soon the state focal points. You're going to see a lot of state level activities. Let's be part of that. Let's be part of the regional platforms as well. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and looking forward to sustaining this process moving forward. And thanks, Chanda. And that's it for me.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you, William. Until next time, have a lovely afternoon. All right. Bye.